Hi everybody and welcome to the May Q&A video here on the Web Designer 18 YouTube channel. I have a whopping 7 questions this time around. Sorry if there's not a lot to do here, but a lot has gone on this month. I started a new job. It's a full-time job, I should say. So I'm actually working from 9 to 5. Literally, like the Dolly Parton song, working 9 to 5. Uh, yeah. So I apologize for the lack of videos. I'm trying. Bear with me here. I am trying to fix that up. And if you're wondering what this is, it's my microphone. I think we've gone through that. Although over here to my left, I do have my nice little speaker. I love this thing. I picked this up, ironically, from where I used to work, Five Below. I love this thing. It's a little Bluetooth speaker. It's supposed to be a shower one, but I would not take this into the shower. I don't ever want to. I got this just honestly for a little small speaker. And this thing's got some pretty fucking good sound quality. So I like it. And for those of you that don't know, a couple times I actually did record the podcast with this. Because if you notice right here, I'll zoom in here. There we go. This is actually designed for phones, so you can like hook this up to your phone and you can take phone calls while you're in the shower. But I like it. And it was only $5 at the time when I bought it, so what the hell? I'm like, yeah, what the hell? I bought it, and it's yellow. So you know why I bought it. It's yellow. All right, but anyway, I got how many questions? Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I got 7 questions this month to ask. It's gonna be a bit of a shorter video. And that's fine because I do have to record a review because I saw Belle. Oh, yeah. Less said about that, the better. But anyway, let's get into this. So the first question of the month is, which cat do you prefer, Garfield or Heathcliff? The orange cat voiced by Mel Blanc. I like Garfield. Sorry. Heathcliff, I always thought was just the discount Garfield. But I've always liked Garfield. I mean, my mom can attest that I have always been a fan of Garfield. He hates Mondays. So do I. With a passion. Hate Mondays. Can't stand them. Hate them with a passion. I'm not a fan of lasagna, but I do love pizza. So it's Italian food either way. So I'm happy with that. But he's lazy, but yet he's highly intelligent. If you actually think about it, he's able to solve problems like that. More so than any of the other characters can, and he's just lazy as hell because he doesn't want to do anything. But yes, I am a huge fan. I love Garfield. Garfield's one of my favorites, so there we go. Who's your favorite musical artist? Define musical artist. I mean, are we talking like group, individual singer, or what? Because honestly, there's no one answer to that. Again, have an MP3 player full of music. If it's on my MP3 player, I like it. I got into Sonata Arcadia because I was watching some AMVs with it. I got into a little bit of Dragon Force because my one friend, my buddy Sean, loves Dragon Force. So I kind of got into Dragon Force a bit because of him. I actually have a Britney Spears NSYNC CD that my mom got me from McDonald's the one time. I have a Backstreet Boys CD. Yes, I grew up in the 90s. I have a Lindsay Lohan CD. Say what you will. So I have my mom's, so I ended up getting her a copy of a Meatloaf CD, and ironically, of Bat Out of Hell, and ironically, she had already had it, so I ended up getting her old copy, and she got the newer copy, because the new copy had the live songs on it, so I got in the Meatloaf because of her. So there's Meatloaf, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan. You just freaking name it, but the problem is, I have no one particular favorite. It's just whatever sparks my mood that day. I like the Shut Up and Dance song that came out. From Walk the Moon. So there's no one particular answer to that question. What's my favorite musical artist? There's no one particular answer. So sorry, I just don't. I don't know. So, who are your favorite anime voice actors or Senyu from Japan or elsewhere? And the person that asked this question goes, theirs would be Vic Mignogna and others. Oh, well, I'm not a fan of Mignogna, but then again, that's for various other reasons. You got caught. I'm sorry. I'm putting that out there. Favorite voice actors. Well, Johnny Young Bosch, who does Ichigo, Vash the Stampede, so many others. Obviously, he's one of my favorites. He's a good one. For a while, I did say Sean Schimmel, but then he actually did become a bit of a pain in the ass with it was like a couple people were asking him questions at conventions, and granted, the one was the DBZA question, but there was some people asking him other questions at a convention, and he just got a little uppity with them. It wasn't even like in a playful way to me because I saw the video. It just seemed more like they just asked an honest question, and he just kind of got a little snarky, and that to me just kind of kills the mood. I don't really know that many that actually do voice me. I ironically I found out that the one that voiced Naruto in the dub is the same one. If you've ever seen Lab Rats, she played the principal in Lab Rats, Principal Perry. I honestly did not know that until all of a sudden she did a thing, and I'm like, that's Naruto's voice? Well, you learned something. I learned something new that day. I did not know that. But yeah, there's a lot, but those are at least English dub ones. At least Johnny Young Bosch definitely, because I mean I just like he has a really iconic voice. You do when you hear it. When you hear the voice, you know who it is. It's not oh, okay, that's who it is. Because he was also in Tenkai Nights. Because I actually had to take a double take on that. I'm like, no, that does sound like him. Yeah, it is him. I thought so. But there's that. As far as like overseas ones, like the ones actually from Japan, I would probably go with Goku's voice actors, I should say, over in Japan. She is really good. Hell, she's been doing it now for how many freaking years? I mean, when she dies, there goes the franchise. Honestly, when she croaks, there goes the franchise. Because I honestly, at this point, I think she's carrying it. As far as voice wise, I honestly think she's carrying the franchise. And that's sad, but yeah, yeah, she's good. She's damn good. I really can't. I don't know a lot of them. Some of them are good, like I would say, well, some of them for like different anime series are good. Like a lot of the voices from, World Trigger are really good. They fit the character. There are some from The Devil's a Part-Time that fit the character. There are some anime where the voice is okay, but it doesn't fit the character that they're trying to be. And a prime example, let me bring back here to the US version. There's an anime series called Kashimashi, and it got an English dub. Yes, the sad part was I actually owned the Japanese version. It was a 3-disc Japanese version. I got it like Best Buy for $15 back in the day. And it was like, okay, I'm like, all right, this is good. It's interesting. And then all of a sudden, here comes an English version. I'm like, oh, there's an English dub. All right, let's watch this. And I'm like, I'll get rid of my. I watched. It's like, I watched the Japanese one. That's fine. I'm just getting tired of the subtitles. I'm like, and either way, I'm like, well, it'll be, English with Japanese. So either way, I'm just trading I was trading 3 separate cases for 1 case. I'm like, you know what, that's fine. Let me just do that. It was the same discs, just put onto in 1 case versus 3. I'm like, yeah, it's for me. It was space saving. I traded out the one for the other. It was space saving in a way, and it did work. So with that was simple, but the voices just did not fit. It was, I swear, it was the one that voiced Izzy in Digimon. The US Digimon, and that voice did not work for the character. I'm sorry for the one character. That voice just did not work. But I'm like, you know what? Either way, I'm like, well, if I like the Japanese version, I can just keep watching the Japanese one with the subtitles, as that's on here too. And instead of just having 3 discs or 3 individual boxes, I have 1. I have it in 1 box. So there is that. There was that series. If you want a decent example of how voices work versus don't work, What the hell was the name of it? Oh, let me just give the perfect example. Sword Art Online. That's what it is. The Japanese voices. If you ever want to watch Sword Art Online, like the first and second season, avoid the third, avoid the third, avoid the third, avoid the third, avoid the third. If you cherish your soul, avoid the third, because by the time you get to episode 9, or I think it was episode 9 or 10, you're like, fuck this shit. Yeah. The hell. The Japanese version was a lot better. When we got the English dub, I was just like, these are the voices. No. I did not like the voices for the English dub, and I'm like, no, they dropped the ball on this. They dropped the ball heavy on this, and I was like, fuck this, I'm done. And honestly, that's where I stood at for the longest time. I was like, fuck this, I'm done. Fuck it. Wasn't worth it. So yeah, there is that. As far as, like, I want to say other series, I don't know, because I don't know the names of every individual voice actor and the voice actors for anime, for like here, Japan, or elsewhere. So I really couldn't narrow down. But those are the ones that I kind of have that I like. So it varies depending on what it is. And I may not know their name, I just know the character. So, that is that. But okay, next question. Who's your favorite character from any of the Studio Ghibli films? Oh, okay, so we're really narrowing this one down. Well, let's see. I like Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, Ponyo. So let me go off of those three first for my favorite characters. Well, obviously for Kiki's Delivery Service, I do like Kiki and I do like Gigi. Those are two of my favorite characters from that. So that one's done. Ponyo, obviously, was pretty interesting. Though I will admit, in an ironic kind of way, I think the scientist who's like, I'm going to live under the sea and protect the Mother Earth and all this other crap, was kind of interesting. You got Liam Neeson voicing the damn thing. But it's like, that was kind of interesting. Those two definitely. As far as Spirited Away, obviously the main character, Chihiro, and Haku. Those honestly were the two that I liked the most out of it. I mean, Kamaji wasn't too bad, the boiler guy. He was pretty cool. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, interesting. Alright, interesting. But, yeah, those three. As for, like, the other movies, I'm not a fan of Howl's Moving Castle. I could not get into it. And I tried. I tried. Honest to God, I tried. I just could not get into it. My Neighbor Totoro, just depressing as all hell to me. So there's a few of them that I just, if I'm not a fan of it, I'm not going to have that many characters that I like. And for Studio Ghibli, while it's a great studio, don't get me wrong, there's just some movies that I don't like what they bring to the table. I don't like what they, story-wise, so the characters to me are meaningless. So like Princess Mononoke, I can't watch that. I tried, and as I'm watching this, I'm like, what am I watching? What in the hell was I watching? And I couldn't do it. So there's that. What's your favorite video game company? Are we talking publisher company, or are we talking game console company? If you screw it, let's just do both. We got some time. All right, so for video game publishers, Camelot, because they made fucking Golden Sun. Need I say more? They made Golden Sun. Golden Sun was the greatest RPG I ever played. In fact, it was my very first ever decent RPG for the Game Boy Advance. The first RPG I ever played was Legacy of Goku, which was the very first game I ever owned. And when I said that to some, there was a hardcore gamer on Twitter, and I'm like, yeah, my first ever RPG was Legacy of Goku. And you're still a gamer? Yes. God bless you. It's like, I played Golden Sun after that. Yeah, Golden Sun, so Camelot. And heads up, Camelot, I would really like a new Golden Sun game. Come on. You can't keep doing Mario sports games for a fucking eternity and a half here. But Camelot, definitely. I want to say the ones that do the Dynasty Warriors series. I don't know who they are off the top of my head. Capcom, obviously, for the Mega Man series. That's actually not a bad game. There's another one. What was it? It's not Konami. I can't stand Konami. Their stuff's good, but their company sucks. It's not Bethesda. I hate. You all know my thoughts on Bethesda. Christ, what was it? I can't think of it. There was like one more. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. So, yeah, there is that. So, Camelot, obviously, though, is my number one favorite. I would say Game Freak, but they lied through their teeth. They lied through their teeth when it came to the Pokemon games, for X and Y, and no, not even for that, but for Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield mostly they lied through their teeth for Sword and Shield. So no, Sun and Moon too, I guess in a way. Oh, whatever, they lied through their teeth. No, it was Sword and Shield. It was Sword and Shield. Yeah, they lied through their teeth. They lied through their teeth, and they got caught. They knew it. I said that people were gonna get through the source code on that, and I was right. Don't take a rocket scientist. We live in a modern age of computers, and all you need to do is have one nerd go home, and that's it. They can homebrew. Literally, you can homebrew a device to read Switch games, and connect that to your PC, and just like that, you can dive into the source code. It is not that difficult. So yes. As far as, like, those are, like, video game companies that make games. If we're going on video game companies that, like, make consoles, Nintendo, because I did own a GameCube. The Game Boy Advance was my first ever handheld. Game Boy Advance SP. Then I had the GameCube. Then I got a PS2. And Sony, I love the PS2. Though, I actually like the design of the PS1, but I never owned one, but I did like the design of the PS1. And I thought the PS1's design was really good. In fact, I actually have a little project I'd like to work on at some point. I want to find a busted, beat-to-hell PS2. Now, I mean, like, the case is in good condition, but, like, it doesn't work inside. Like, the power supply may not be the world's greatest or something. And I want to make that into a little PC of my own. Like, change out the ports on the bottom of it to be USB ports, like USB 3.0 ports, and make myself a little mini micro PC out of an old PS1. Because I think that would be cool. Because it'd be giving homage to the old PS1, which, let's face it, the damn thing just needs... It was a goddamn beautiful design. The GameCube was good. I like the GameCube's design, too. It was a square... Literally just a square box with a handle. It was the first portable gaming console that you could take to other people's homes. And granted, it wouldn't fit in your pocket. It wasn't a Game Boy Advance. But it was a console that you could easily take to your friend's house. It had a fucking handle on it. I love that thing. I had a crap ton of games for that. And that's another one I'd love to turn into a... computer of sorts. Then again, I'd love to just get one and turn that into an all-game emulator. Because you can actually modify GameCubes. There are parts online to mod a GameCube to play emulation games, but only GameCube emulation games. So for this little endeavor, I'd literally have to get create a whole new motherboard, probably get like a Raspberry Pi and go that route, or actually figure out how to make a fucking PCB for this, and go to one of those places like PCB Way or JLC PCB and get get one of those made. For those of you that don't know what that is, PCB is Programmable Circuit Board. And I probably got that wrong, so there's going to be a nerd in the comment telling me off, but I watch a lot of computer stuff, okay? I like computers. Okay? I like computers. But yeah, so Sony and Nintendo for like the game consoles, because I did like the PlayStation 2. Of course, I had the slim version. I didn't want the bulky one. And my buddy Sean was like, "You got to get the PS2 original." I'm like, "No, I want the slim one." No, get the fucking original one. I didn't want the original one. I should have listened to him. I should have got the original one, because the backup one just was the slim. I burned through 3 of those. 3 of them. In the amount of time that I had the PlayStation 2, I burned through 3 consoles. The first one, the spindle and the laser died. The second one, the spindle and the laser died. The third one, again, spindle and the laser died. And I actually got replacement parts to fix those, and I still couldn't fix it. And that pissed me off. I really wanted it to live. I wanted it to live again, so it had to be something on the circuit board then. See, now, what I know now versus what I knew then, I probably could have fixed it. Oh well. Wouldn't have done me any good anyway, so. But, yeah, I mean, I loved my PlayStation 2. I loved my GameCube, too, so. That's why I got a lot of GameCube emulations and a lot of PS2 emulators, because I loved my PS2, and I loved my GameCube. Those are my 2 favorites, honestly. They were my favorite systems. Game Boy Advance, too. The DS wasn't bad, but I kind of wish that with the DS Lite that we got, I kind of wish that Nintendo would have given us a slightly better experience with it. Because then, literally, we get the DS. The DS Lite comes out to make it thinner, which made a lot more sense. Because, you know, the DS was massive, bulky, heavy. DS Lite, not so much. It felt more like it could slide in my pocket easier, and it didn't feel like I'm pulling out this, like, Mondo brick. It felt like it was a discount smartphone, if you will. Which, yeah, there's something else I should look into, seeing if there's, like, a way to turn one of those into a small little microcomputer. I'll have to check that out. Like, replace the whole bottom part with just a touchscreen. I'm going to have to look into that. I like that idea. I like that idea. Because you can easily get old busted DS Lites everywhere. But then we got the 3DS, the DSi. Whoa. It went to the DSi, which was the bridge in between, because they got rid of the GBA port. And then we got the DSi XL, which, honestly, I would have bought either of those if they would have been cheap. When I went to my local GameStop and I'm looking at it, and I'm holding the empty box, because they didn't put them out on the shelves for obvious reasons. They put a display box out. And you could look at the box, you turn it over, you could read it. And they actually, the GameStop that I went to actually had it tethered, because I guess somebody walked off with one. And I'm reading it, and the one employee who actually, I was a regular there. And it just looks at me and goes, "Don't waste your time. They're coming out with a 3DS in like 6 months. It's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it." And then when the 3DS came out, and I'm looking at the 3DS, and I'm sliding the 3D thing, I'm like, yeah, this sucks. And I'm just like, fuck that. But I wouldn't have minded the DSi, because I actually thought that was kind of an interesting idea, but there's that. But yeah, for like consoles, GameCube was my favorite, so Nintendo, and I love the design of the original PS1, but I never owned one, but the PS2 for Sony, so yeah. So for video game companies that made consoles, Sony and Nintendo. I didn't really like any. I've watched retro gaming videos on like the Sega Genesis and the Dreamcast, and honestly, they suck. The design, I just don't like the design of them. So, sorry. But as far as like gaming companies themselves, Camelot, Capcom, the other one escapes me. There are so many that make game. Whoever made Dynasty Warriors, and that was probably Konami, knowing my luck, because I'm not a fan of Konami, so it was probably Konami. But yeah, so there you go. If you were a comic book or manga writer, okay, so if I was a comic book writer or a mangaka, okay, what would you write and create? That's a good question. Well, all right. Let me go this way. I actually had, so a few years ago, I shouldn't say a few years ago, years ago, I actually did try writing a book. I thought, well, okay, I was trying to come up with an idea, And I was tired of my family, or not all of them, but most of my family riding my ass that I needed a job. I'm a deadbeat. I'm worthless, pissing and moaning at me every 5 seconds. And I'm like, I wanted to try writing a book. So I always liked writing stuff in study hall, and I'm like, let me give this a shot. I never put it out anywhere. I never tried publishing it anywhere. I still have them if anybody wants to read them. I think I gave like a copy I gave 2 copies actually to a friend of mine, and I know a couple of my other friends have read it. That's about it. So what it basically was, it was a story called The Legendary Knights. Um, and I kind of got inspiration from it from the trailer that played at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 for Birth by Sleep, but we didn't know it was Birth by Sleep at the time. And I was watching this trailer over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, this is really cool. And I'm like, I thought of an idea for a story about, 3 knights that saved the kingdom. And, by sacrificing themselves, they managed to keep the darkness at bay. And what it basically turned into then is that, thousand years, like thousands of years later, I think it was like 1,000 years later, I think that's what I put it at. The evil breaks free and a new generation has to take over, and they kind of have to once again sacrifice themselves after they come back to try to, reseal the evil. Then they have to sacrifice themselves again in order to pass on the powers that they had to the next generation to continue the fight. They know that they're no match for this, for the evil now and its newer powers. So they just outright, it's like, nope, it's your turn. And I wrote that. I did have a sequel started for it, so I did actually finish that one, and I did start a sequel, which I wrote it out on paper and I misplaced it, and it is lost to time. It's lost to time. I can't find I don't remember where I put it because I gave it to my mom to read and give me some feedback on, like, do I have anything spelled wrong? Does it seem like it's interesting? Because I was working on it at night, and she just kind of completely spaced out on it. She put it somewhere, and I have not seen it since. And it's sad. I'll probably find it someday. It's sad, which really sucks because I really want to read it again. Because I really want to read it again. I wanted to move that over onto a digital form so I could keep working on it, and I don't remember anymore. It's really sad. But basically the sequel I called The Legendary Knights Invasion from Mirror World, where basically this alternate dimension sort of opened up and these mirror knights came out, and there's one for each of the knights, because well, you never fucking read the book anyway, so you never read the story. So what ended up happening was a couple of the villains turned good then at the end of the first one, and they kind of went and joined up the Legendary Knights anyway, so they ended up having like 6 knights at the end instead of we ended up having 3, then it went to 4, then it went to 6. So instead of the 6 knights, we ended up having instead of the 3 knights, it went to 4, then we had 6. So Mirror World, there's 6 knights that just show up. These 6 individuals just start wreaking havoc. They are extremely powerful. They are stronger than you could ever imagine, and the knights end up having to undergo a bit of a trial to unlock a new form of their power, like, because their power is drawn on the elements. You have water, earth, fire, air, light, and dark. So there's that. And they have to draw upon a newer strength to defeat these foes, so they end up going into like a sage mode. Or sage, well, I called it sage form actually, and what that basically, the part that I had gotten up to is they were, to unlock this power, they had to face a horrific memory from their past. They had to basically conquer their greatest fear, because that's what was preventing the power from coming out. And where I was going to end it, I was going to make a third one. I just never even finished the second one. But basically, what would end up happening is the knights take on the Mirror Knights again, only this time they do slightly better but not great, and two of them end up getting captured, which results in the knights having to go into the mirror world to try to save their friends, and they end up having to sacrifice something very close to them in order to get free. And it leads into the third book, because we had Invasion from Mirror World. The third book, or the third story, I was going to call Rise of the Sky Kingdom. And basically what that was is basically this, unbeknownst to everybody, there's been this massive kingdom in the sky high above the clouds, and they're send out some winged scouts who grab the knights literally at the end of the second book and drag them up into the sky, and basically they're not sure what to do with them. So they're like, oh, well, we're just going to have them here. That's going to be the end of it. And what I was going to have it be was basically the Sky Kingdom, the ruler of it is preparing to wage war on the surface dwellers. He's sick and tired of them, destroying the earth and taking the planet for granted, and he's sick and tired of it. So his idea was that anyone on the ground is evil, and his vision was to get the knights on his side and have them, be the driving force behind his invasion. However, they obviously refused, and it resulted in a massive battle going on where he's defeated in the end, and his daughter, the princess, ends up taking over, realizing that we need to create a union between the sky and the ground. So it was kind of an interesting idea that I had, but I would do I would go more like a manga, and I would do that as a manga. There was another story I was working on called MP3 Hero. Not to be confused with like Guitar Hero or anything, but basically that one was this city was called Zeroburg. They've been living in a totalitarian rule, basically. And the people are fine with it. It's not like a massive, there's troops walking the streets or anything, but it's like everybody knows that, the main corporation owns the entire city. There's no arguing it. They own the city. If you try to fight them, you're going to lose. If you try to defeat them, you're going to lose. And their entire mindset was basically, that's what I'm looking for here. Their entire mindset is basically, we have to, we rule you, we own you, you bow to us. But yet they're more of a peaceful scenario, but on the outside. On the inside, they're planning to destroy the entire, they're planning to level the city, basically. They want to basically make sure that everybody is either inside the, protected area, which means that you're chosen, or they live out in the regular city and they're worthless. So the one character runs into this guy that she assumes is homeless, and here it turns out that he's actually from there. He just, lives out in the street because his home is gone. And his entire gimmick is that he has this MP3 player that when he puts the earbuds in, provided whatever music plays, he basically becomes this massively monstrous badass. I mean, we're talking Ultra Instinct Goku on massive power level of a creep up. Think UI Goku and Shaggy then, basically. And he's just massively powerful. If the song's upbeat and really, vibrant, he's strong, fast, and can basically whoop your ass without, in a blink of an eye. If the song's a bit of a low downgrade beat, he's highly defensive. He can endure anything. He ends up teaming up with two other characters. One of them is a leader of this little gang in the city named Banzai, the Last Samurai. That's honestly what I called him in the story. It's like Banzai, the Last Samurai. So he it's kind of funny. So he ends up leaving the city for a little bit to go visit his alien master, and left his one flunky in charge. The flunky goes, "I am Banzai, the Last Samurai," and basically pretends to be him. And his entire gimmick when you're introduced to him is he's looking for a girlfriend to rule over, because he's going to make the entire city belong to the to the gang in a way. And when, as I named the character Tyson that has the MP3 player, when he ends up finally intervening, because he ends up taking the one girl that found Tyson, all of a sudden the actual Bonsai shows up and is like, "What the hell have you been doing while I've been gone?" And so there's that. So you kind of have that little dynamic of, look, this idiot is not the real me. I am me. He's just a flunky. So there was that I had planned for it. But and then the other character was one called Go, who was a former security head of basically the conglomerate that owns the freaking city. He was the head of security, and then he decided to leave. He's this like big, hulking, massive. Basically, if you'd see him come, he looks like the Hulk in a way, a massive individual. However, he is extremely intelligent. I mean, like, to the point that he can figure out where an opponent's going to be moving just by how they're standing. He can interpret how they're going to go, which direction they're going to go, and everything else. So it's up to these three are basically going to try to retake the city after it's determined that, everything that they need is inside the, protected part of the city, and they're stuck on the outskirts of it. So there is that. That was an idea. So stories like that is what I would kind of do. That's what I would write and create. Definitely, I would go with MP3 Hero and Legendary Knights. Those were two of my favorites. I also had another one I was doing that I would definitely do. All the stories that I did would definitely make good manga. Comic book wise, don't know, but manga I would definitely do good. I had one. I don't remember what the hell I titled it. Honestly, I don't remember what I titled it, but I actually do have the physical. I wrote it down on some yellow scratch pads, and at least the one chapter that I worked on. And it's basically a story about there's an entire gaming tournament, and the first prize is like a crap ton of cash and prestigious title and all this other crap, but it only goes to the greatest team that can beat the entire tournament. So the one character has this really cool power. The whole point of the game is that you access the satellite via this little device, looked like a cell phone, and it allows you to transform into this. It beams down, it's like digital field, and allows you to transform into this character. So like whatever your character, your avatar is, that's what you become. And how that works out is basically, you battle it in real time. So like, let's say you want to be like an ogre or something. That's your character. That's your avatar. So then your avatar can battle, like, let's say there are other ones, a knight or a pixie or something. That's what you're battling. And the whole point was going to be, a tournament style, battling it out sort of story. So there was that one. I just don't remember what the hell I called it. I really don't remember what I called that one or what I was going to call it. I had one where this girl kind of just appears from another dimension. The main character finds her in the street. Like, literally, he just floats right down from the sky, lands right in the middle of the street. And when he takes her home, because, he doesn't know what the hell's going on, and there's cops everywhere, he's, terrified they're going to think that he up and did something to her. So he just kind of escapes, takes her home, and then she just kind of wakes up because she knows him, but she knows the him from her dimension, not the him that's there right now. So there was that. But stories like that, like out of the blue stuff, is what I would probably write and create. But definitely that, though. So, yeah. Last question. I still managed to make it about 40 minutes. Oh, it's still a decently long video for the counter on the bottom. I hear I've been on for almost 40 minutes. Yay. What's your favorite show or shows from your childhood? I could do this rapid fire, but I get the feeling nobody's going to keep track of it. All right. Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, VR Troopers, Power Rangers, obviously, Samurai Pizza Cats, Dexter's Lab, Doug, Rugrats, Our Real Monsters, Hey Arnold, Reboot, Beast Wars. So I didn't watch G1 Transformers. I only saw them in reruns and in syndication. So, and I didn't see those till later on in life. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm gonna go childhood. I'm gonna go up to like age 13 here. Cubics. I'll throw Cubics in on that. Cubics. What was the name of that one? Not gonna. Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. What other ones? What other ones were there? There's a lot of other ones. What other ones were there? What other ones were? Damn it! I can't think of them now. What other ones were there? But yeah, like Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. That I did like that one. Well, I said reboot. I can't think of them. I can't. It's like it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't place it. But yeah, so those definitely. But obviously, I mean, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, VR Trooper. Oh, Big Bad Beetleborgs. That's what it was. Big Bad Beetleborgs, Power Rangers, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, VR Troopers, basically all the shit from Saban. Animaniacs. I did like watching that. Reboot, Beast Wars, Doug, Our Real Monsters, Rugrats, Hey Arnold. So yeah, there was a lot of Dexter's Lab. Flintstones, Jetsons, because I saw them in reruns when I was a kid. That's about all of them I can think of. But yeah, those were my favorite shows growing up. Well, Real Adventures of Johnny Quest. I love watching that show. The Quest World was a really cool idea at the time, and nowadays we have the technology to do that. It just took like almost 20 years, but we finally have the ability. We have the technology. Yeah. All right, that was the last and final question that I had for this month. So, yay, that was the last question. Let's see here, because I can only record this stuff now on a Sunday because of my job. So, when's next? Yeah, and that is the thing, because like I said, I have a new, it's a full-time job, so I'm not actually, I don't have as much early morning free time. Like, I can't record this at like 9 in the morning like I did, because 9 in the morning I'm working. So, there's that. So June. Alright, let's shoot to have all your questions in by 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on June 26th. Okay? June 26th. Have all of your questions in by June 26th. Got it? Yep. Yep. June 26th. For the June Q&A. Try to have all of them in by then. Worst case scenario, if you know you have your questions already set up, I'll take them by the 19th. Because then that'll give me a week to, like, prepare and everything. If I have to look something up or if I have to double check something. But otherwise, 26th, have them in by midnight, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? EST on the 26th. Don't forget to use the parentheses Q &A to submit your questions. And I'm Andrew Rhodes. This has been the May Q&A. I'm out. I'm bouncing. Bye, everybody. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the podcast every week here on the Webdesigner 18 YouTube channel. And till next time, I'll catch you later. Bye, everybody.